Hello again. We are the Vinyl Community Guncles with another album review coming up. We'll do the our top 5 albums of the Pretenders each, and our artist ranking. That video is coming up, and so is our tops and bottoms of 1968. But for this episode, it's all about just one album, the one that Craig chose. It's the Cardigans, and Gran Turismo is the name of the album. Came out in 1998, and Mike is first with his review.
Yes. So I remember the Cardigans. I don't. I can't say I ever owned any of their CDs, any of their albums. I know they had one big song that apparently nobody likes anymore.
Love
I,
Hole.
yeah, I,
That's so
I,
like
I, I,
it.
I played it. Because I had to see what this band was all about. So, and it was on. It was number one. Their number one song, and I do remember that. And I was like, oh my god, what are we getting into? Because I remember that song and I hated it when it came out, and I was like, ooh, okay. But I'm gonna give it 3 listens. It's very dated. It has a very dated sound, but that's not a bad thing. I I I I hear that phrase a lot. It's dated. It's dated. It's not always a bad thing. It can be a good thing, and I think it's a good thing here. Her vocals at first, when I my first listen through, actually on the first song, I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure I care for her vocals all that much." Um, they are garbage light. Also, a good thing. I love Garbage. Garbage is one of my favorite bands. Absolutely love Garbage. I love Shirley Manson. I love everything about him. Um, in fact, this reminded me so much of Garbage. At one point, I had to Google to see who the producer was, and to see if it was Butch Vig. It's not. Um, in fact, they opened the album with a song called "Paralyzed," and the first listen through, I didn't care for it. I didn't really like her vocals all that much. And then the next song, "Erase and Rewind." It's a great song. I absolutely love this song. At first, it was my favorite song on the record. I was in love with it, and then the next 2 songs, I was kind of like, "Explode," meh, "Starter," meh, and then something happened on this album for me. This is all my opinion and everything. The song "Hanging Around." First of all, it's this is the song where I heard. I was like, "Wait, is Butch Vig producing this?" I had to check it out. I googled to see who the producer was. I don't remember who it was, but he does a great job. This song is awesome. "Hanging Around," probably for a while it was my favorite song on the record until like the fourth listen through. Um, a great song. I really really like it. The next song, "Higher," another really solid song. "Marble Hill," great groove. I love the song. The next song, my favorite game. I don't know if this was a single or not, but it should have been if it was a single.
It was the
What
first
a
single.
great freaking song! I can say fucking. What a great fucking song! It also, again, back to that garbage kind of groove, which I love, absolutely love. "Do You Believe?" It's got a kind of a harder edge to it. A plus. I really really like it. The last 2 songs, "Junk of My Heart" and "Nil," really solid songs just to close out the record. I I listened to this like 5 or 6 times in the car. I don't own it. Um, I really really enjoyed this. I don't know what the rest of their records sound like. I know that one song is absolutely horrible. But I really this grew on me, and it grew on me as I listened to it. I really like the second half of this record. Like I said, I got lost after Erase Rewind, and I do like Paranoid now. The more I listened to Paranoid, the more I liked it.
Uh,
Erase Rewind, really really good. And then the next couple songs, I was kind of like, but then the rest of it, all the way to the end, I really really enjoyed. And I it's on my list. If I come across it, I will pick it up. It's not super expensive. I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna go out and get it. go online or anything. But if I come across this record, I'm definitely going to buy it. I really really enjoyed it. It's an era of music that I really like, and the garbage feel just I really really enjoyed. So I'm giving this 4 rainbows.
Yay.
All right. Yeah. So.
Cabbage Patchin'.
Yeah, Cabbage Patchin'. Some really horrendous production kept this from being a possible 4-star album, but it's horrendous, the production on this. It's just awful. I like some of her voice. I think the best part about it is there's a lot of great vocal melodies in this, but the album is very frustrating because it's like trying to lose yourself into a watercolor painting and all something. And yeah, it's very frustrating. 2.5 rainbows.
So you're not going to buy it. You're not going to buy
it. But 2.5 rainbows says it.
It's just frustrating as hell because it could have been so much better without with just some different production.
Yeah. When I first listened to the record, my first impression was, this sounds all right. And I have my note here. First impression, 3.5 was what I wrote down as my first impression. And then I started listening to it on repeat, and it kind of, what I found myself doing was not paying attention. On subsequent listens, I was not engaging with it. I think Paralyzed, the opener, is really, really quite strong, very strong opener. But some of the other songs, they're okay. It's not like I hated the songs. I didn't hate the songs. They were okay. And the more I listened to the songs, a couple others of my favorites. I like Starter because of the groove that they had going on with it. I liked Junk of Hearts because that was the first time I felt like her voice was doing something different. And that's what I began to realize, and I started listening again. The thing that kind of caused me to drift away and not pay attention to the record is her voice it's the same for every song. Mm-hmm. It's a very narrow timbre, and it lacks any. I felt like I wanted her with some of the songs to like really dig down and get some grit, and I wasn't getting that from her, except for that one song, "Junk of Hearts." I felt like that was the closest that it was coming to. The closer, Nil, seemed, because it was the closer, it seemed to me superfluous. I think it would have been better in the middle of the album as kind of a transition piece, but to end the album with it, it didn't work with me. So on subsequent listens, my score started to drop because of it's just I didn't she didn't wow me. The voice was just like, to me, it was stuck in a range.
She's no Shirley Manson, that's for sure.
Yeah. So but I don't hate it. It was fine to have playing on in the background. The more I listened to it, the more I found that I wasn't paying attention to it.
Maybe because I was in my car driving and I had it cranked. I had it really loud. I was driving out to Iowa and I was just maybe I was forcing myself to like absorb it.
So I give it 3 rainbows.
I like Loveful though.
They're so much better than Loveful. The thing is with the Cardigans is that I feel like they almost reinvent themselves for each album.
That's a good thing for these guys.
Last Band on the Moon, which is the one with Love Fool, which they do a freaking cover of Iron Man on that album, which is quite interesting. I think Nina is brilliant. She's done a solo record. She's also been in another band called A Camp that they did 2 records. I'm obsessed with her. Cardigans were first. They were before Garbage, just so you know.
Well,
Swedish,
this album's contemporary to Garbage.
yeah. Well, yeah. No, I'm just saying. You know, Garbage and Shirley's amazing. I don't know. There's just Nina's. There's always just been something about her. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. And with this record, I feel like the opening line really kind of tells you what the journey is going to be. You know, this is where your sanity gives in and love begins. Never lose your grip. Don't trip. Don't fall. You'll lose it all. The sweetest way to die. And I just kind of think that kind of brings you on the journey of this record. And it's a journey for me. So whether it's a journey for anybody else, I don't care. Fuck you. Just kidding.
Wow.
I don't. It came out at a perfect time. I don't think I'd been in Seattle a little over a year when this record came out, and yes, my favorite game was the first single off of it, and I heard that song.
Oh, really?
The music video is freaking like they are driving in a convertible and spinning around, and Nina's looking as gorgeous as ever, and it was just kind of my introduction to this. Obviously, yes, this is kind of how music was going at that time. Like I said, their following record is it's almost acoustic. You don't find a lot of these experimental sounds in them, especially with their last 2 records. Definitely more of an acoustic vibe, and which her voice blends with very well. But I'll take her. However, Erase and Rewind is probably why I wanted to choose this record, just because that song is fucking brilliant, and it's just it is. It's just fucking brilliant. I love this record. I will always love this record. It was always be very special to me, and I love the way it ends with nil. It's a hauntingly circus jaunts of an instrumental, and it just kind of brings you, it just kind of stops kind of there, and then you're done. And you start it over again, because I could listen to this record constantly. And I have been the last week. But I listen to it. This is a record I pull out all the time. And the Long Gone Before Daylight, which is the record that came out after this, I might play that one more. But I don't know. I don't always win when I choose my records. But to me, this is Five Rainbows. And I think it's because of where I was when it came out. My friend Christy and I absolutely obsessed with Cardigans, and we had Nina all over our refrigerator because we thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Shirley was on the fridge with her as well, but Shirley's hanging in my living room, so I love me some Shirley. She's
And
the
they're
video
Swedish.
I saw, she's very pretty. She is very pretty.
They're Swedish, right? Like from Sweden?
Yes, they're Swedish, and she did another thing too. Wow, what was it was these ladies, they did a Dolly Parton cover album, and they were all Swedish. Most of it's not in English, but it's quite interesting. And she did Why'd You Come In Here Looking Like That. I don't like the cover of it, but it's interesting.
I would check out some of it. I would check out some of their other records. Are they still together? Or are they long?
No. She said they might tour again, but they'll probably never do new material. She, really focusing. And she married, oh God, what was it? Some Taylor or something. He's an American artist. I can't remember what his name is, but that she married. But she pops up every once in a while. Cardigans will pop up every once in a while doing tours, but they're probably not going to do any new material. I think if she did anything, it would be solo, or she would maybe do something with a camp again. Which, yeah, a camp is really good too. So
It's a band I've always heard about. I've never heard until I forced myself to listen to that Love Stink song or whatever it's called.
Love Fool was also from a soundtrack.
It was
And
from
that's
the
where
Romeo
a lot
and
of people
Juliet,
heard
yeah.
it. Was they had the soundtrack album too? So a lot of people had that, even though they didn't have a Cardigans album. I don't remember what was it. Romeo and
Romeo and Juliet.
Was it Romeo and Juliet? Yeah.
Which also had a Garbage Truck on it.
Yeah, a lot of people
Remember
had
them
that
first.
soundtrack. It was a popular soundtrack. It had like 3 singles on there.
Was that the Leo Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a big movie.
All right, so that does it for the Cardigans Gran Turismo from 1998. Very different, a cavalcade of opinions.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here, cavalcades.
And now it's time for Mike to reveal what album we'll be listening to next.
Yes.
After we do the Pretenders in 1968.
Yes. This is a woman who I absolutely adore, and I've loved her for a very long time, and I think I might have all of her records, and this is one I was missing, and I don't know why this wasn't. Well, anyway, this is Mavis Staples. This is her album Only for the Lonely.
And that's not a cheap album either.
I got this for $1.
Yeah, cheap for you.
Like 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
I looked it up. It's not. Yeah, it's
Really?
like a $60 album. Yeah.
Oh my god! No, and this is
50
in great
50
shape.
or
It's an
60.
original. Yeah. Mavis Staples. One of my favorites. So, yep. Her second solo album.
So we'll be reviewing that. And like I said, we'll be reviewing the Pretenders' top albums. We'll be reviewing the year 1968. It's all coming up with the Vinyl Community Guncles.
And we're live.
And we're live coming up. So mark your calendars. What is it, the 24th?
24th. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
we're thinking the
24th.
24th.
Mark your calendars.
So
We are
that's
by the alcohol. So yeah, we'll be doing that
Yes.
before we do. I don't know what the hell we're doing. I'm Robert Fitton, along with
Coming out.
I don't either.
It's coming out.
Richard at Calvin Wazoo.
The Crag.
Mike at Hub Tunes.
Thank you again so much for watching, and we will definitely be sending out messages and scrolling things when we're going. It'll be the 24th, so buy your alcohol now. Have it all.
I'll get a
Have it
case
all
of Bud
ready.
Light.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you again, or you'll see us again next time.
Mm-hmm.